Alright, in this video, I'll show you 2 ways to write melodies using just 3 structural notes. And we'll build our melody off it to make this fire melodic beat. Both methods are relatively simple and easy to follow, but the second method has a secret sauce to it. With that said, let's jump straight into the video. So the first method is building the melody off chord notes. Let's make a basic triad. Hit the stamp icon and from the melodic chord category, choose any chord of your choice. Let's do the major, so a C major chord. So what we will do here is that we'll find a rhythmic pattern to restructure the notes of the C major chords. I'll add the C here to resolve the melody. Technically, it's just 3 notes. I just repeated the C again. Let's drop the tempo all the way to 90, which is suitable for a chill vibe. Here's the secret to make great melodies that people often overlook, which is harmony. The top line is the melody, and we will add set of chords to harmonize the melody. Let's begin with the root note of the progression. So this is the 1, 3, 6, 4 progression in C major. We turn them into chords. Now this melody sounds settled and okay, but you may want to add some color to your melody. And to do this, we'll use passing notes. So with the structure of the C major chord, all the notes around the C chord can be used as passing notes, and it's guaranteed to sound great. Alright, so the D, F, A, and B can be used as passing notes. I'm basically filling each other notes around and inside the chord. Same applies to the other chords. So with the E minor, the D, F, A, and C will be our passing notes. So let's make some changes to the notes. Let's start with the color tone, that's a passing note. We follow same pattern. With the first structure, we started with B. That's the bass note below the C. It's only logical to start with the D on the next chord. Next note is the root note, so we do E. Next up, the middle note, so F, and then we end on the root note, which is E. Well, this is textbook way of writing melodies. You can use this simple method if you struggle to write melodies. But a melody like this will sound boring when you loop it for 8 bars because it's repetitive. So to make the melody memorable, we can add variation at the close of the bar. Well, we can do this in 2 ways. One is to totally switch up the chord notes, and 2 is to change the rhythm. But we'll combine both. That's exactly what we'll do. We'll switch up the rhythm and then change the chord notes too. Now this sounds good enough, so we can go to our chords and make them glue together. You can invert notes to achieve the closeness of the chords. Well, if you don't know how to invert notes, just look at the common notes in the progression. So the C chord shares the same note, E and G, with the E minor. We just move them close. Again, that's the textbook way of inverting notes. You typically do this so you don't have to move big jumps when you are playing on the keys. But what's most important is that pay attention to the harmony that you are creating. If it sounds good to you in a certain positioning, just leave it as it is. Alright, I'll add some more voice into the chords. Basically, I'm just repeating some chord notes until it sounds harmonically rich. Next up, I'll just create a separate channel for the melody and harmony, aka chords, because I want to add effects that only affect the melody. But make sure you humanize your melody by randomizing the velocity and strumming it a little. This Porter preset will do the magic. Now we can add another instrument for the top end. We'll basically be using the same principle, chord notes and passing notes, to create this melody. With horn instruments, what I like to do is duplicate the instrument 2 or 3 times, and then I'm going to adjust the timing. Now we can go to the control section and then pan them. The bottom goes right, this goes left, and we can throw in some reverb. Now let's add a bass line. I'll be using a percussive approach to make the bass line. Think of how a drummer will play. We'll just imitate that pattern to make a simple bass line. The bass is up an octave for those watching on their cell phones to hear the bass groove better. a rhythm like this is fine. So we just move it to the next half and make it follow the structure of the progression. Now you can go ahead and complete the beat by adding some drums. I layer the sub bass with a log drum, and then we have a simple percussion groove. And I then went on to layer with this percussion loop. Now the drum sounds full enough, and together, here's what we have. Alright, let's do another one as a recap. So pick any chord of your choice and restructure the notes into an interesting rhythm. This is the A minor. And we made it clear that if a melody is repetitive, it sounds boring. So to fix it, we either change the rhythm or change the chord notes, or we can combine both. So just a change of rhythm changes the whole vibe into a memorable melody. Now let's change the notes. We can do this by walking it through a chord progression. Now here's the secret to making great melodies, using the circle of fate to write your chord progression. Our chord is A minor, so if you have the circle of fate, just create a triangle on this small section. And if you mix and match the chords in any order with this space, it's guaranteed to sound good. So we can do the F. So basically the chords outside are major chords and then the inner chords are minor chords. Now you can revoice it for a more pleasing sound. We then copy it to the next half of the progression and make changes to it. Alright, so we are still confining ourselves to this section of the circle of fate. So let's do the C, the E minor, and the F major. Next up, we harmonize the melody. Alright, the second method to writing melodies is drawing inspiration from scales. So you can pick any scale of your choice. Just open up a sampler channel, click on the stamp icon and select any scale. And then you can uncheck only one. So any note you select will have the note of the scale. I'll just select every other A. Stretch it up to fill 4 bars. Hit Alt plus V to activate the ghost note. Now we can mess around with this note to make our melody. Let's start with this phrase. Now let's build on it. We turn them into chords. And then we can revoice it by opening up the chord, just raising the third up an octave. From here we can build up on it. Just open up the chord again to follow similar structure. Now you can basically add more notes to have a pleasing voicing of the melody. Now let's copy it to the next half and add some variation. I'm just restructuring this melody by moving the notes up an octave, and then I'm changing some chord notes too. Now we have this pleasing melody. And that will be all for this video. Like always, thanks for watching and see you in the next one.